Steve Tesh, we got to talk about Saturday night's main event in Atlanta, Georgia. It did not deliver, in my opinion. It had cool moments. Goldberg retires. He has his, riding off into the sunset moment in front of his hometown crowd. His son Gabe walked him to the ring. He got his speech at the end, even though NBC cut it off, which I'm sure he was not a fan of. But it almost seemed as if, Steve, that the final 45 minutes of this event was kind of rewritten in real time because of what happened in the match before. And I think that's going to be the heavy discussion as we talk about this whole. It's not a PLE, but it's it's in between a Raw and a SmackDown and a PLE, Saturday night's main event. It's almost PLE level matches, but with a Raw and SmackDown format because you have commercial breaks because it's on national television. Seth Rollins might be going back on the shelf for like 9 to 12 months with another knee injury. He tore his ACL 10 years ago. ACL, MCL, meniscus, everything. Totaled his knee. It's the same knee. Triple H said in the press conference tonight at Evolution that it does not look good, which is not what you want to hear. It ruins a year's worth of storylines that he was going to tell in his current situation as Mr. Money in the Bank, elevating two young guys on the roster, being paired with arguably the greatest manager in the history of pro wrestling, telling stories with the likes of CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins getting injured against LA Knight is the biggest thing coming out of Saturday night's main event. We have some SummerSlam matches that were announced. We have some feuds that are building up for SummerSlam in New Jersey. But where do you want to start, Steve? Because Saturday night's main event is going to be known. July 12th, Saturday night's main event is going to be more known for the bad and the ugly as opposed to the good.
Well, we might as well just dive into it. Let's go into LA Knight, Seth Rollins, and we can work our way backwards on that one. As a die-hard Seth Rollins fan, and I'm going to talk as a fan right now, like I got emotional when it came to that injury. Also, as someone who has blown their knee out, anyone who says that was a work, he's not really injured, you've never felt the pain that he just went through. I felt that pain. Your body reacts different when you land wrong. And as someone who's done that, you knew instantly. And it wasn't the look on his face. It wasn't the reaction. It's how your leg jumps, how your body jerks. And the leg was already compromised. The one thing people aren't noticing is the leg was already compromised. The first rotation into the ring before the swanton, you could actually see him land a little awkward, but it wasn't anything. I think he just was like, oh, that tweaked a little bit. Okay, I'm still good. I can go. And then when he went to do the swanton into the back moonsault, you see him hesitate on the apron being like, do I want to do this? And it's funny, like you can go right back and I'll put it up right here. You can see him go, oh, okay, I'm going to go. He hesitates. He knows the knee's already compromised, but he decides to move forward with it. He lands and he scoots himself into the corner. He looks over at Paul. Everyone needs to remember Paul Heyman is the Oracle, but he's also a producer of the show. Okay? Jessica Carr, who was the referee, comes in and they have a little powwow. Jessica Carr, yes, could have thrown up the X. And this is a lot of stuff that I see people talking about saying, oh, if it's a real injury, why didn't she throw up the X? Does anybody remember WrestleMania 40 where Seth's knee was gone against Drew McIntyre, where he lost the world title? That was a very short match. Seth, as the constant professional he is, went out, put on a match that he could, and limped away, was virtually carried up the ramp by doctors. 3 hours later, he shows up in Shield gear, takes a Superman punch where you see his knee completely go, and still stands up and takes the chair shot heard around the world that was 10 years in the making. to make the finish of WrestleMania 40 perfect. You don't think he knows his knee's gone and he's going to finish the match to put over LA Knight, even though LA Knight didn't want to do it. You can see it on his face when the pin happened. He scooted out of the ring, pissed off look on his face, because that's not the finish both those men deserved in that match. CM Punk's, wow. Seth Rollins' knee is gone. Like you said, Triple H said it doesn't look good. The next year almost of professional wrestling in WWE is built around Seth Rollins and that faction and him as Mr. Money in the Bank. SummerSlam is built around Seth Rollins. WrestleMania 42 is built around Seth Rollins. The return of Roman Reigns is built around Seth freaking Rollins.
I'm telling you, dude, I think he was backstage last night.
I do too.
Was like, well, I'm going home. Like, I don't have any program for SummerSlam. You guys are gonna give me the check, right? The check, the $15 million that you owe me. Good, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to pinpoint as to what the main event was going to look like.
Goldberg
were we
wins,
gonna
Seth
get
cashes
like a
in.
scenario in which we saw tonight where like Goldberg and Gunther were both laying on their backs and Seth Rollins was going to come down to the ring, ask for a referee, and then we were going to hear the bum 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 ba, bum 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 ba, and then the OTC one or the Tribal Chief one, whatever the hell they're going to call him now.
Yeah.
Was he going to come out and that was going to be the big finish? And then maybe we see like a double spear between Goldberg and Reigns, and like that's how Goldberg goes out. Who knows? Because what we got was definitely forced. It was definitely called on the fly, and you could just tell from every angle. And fans were upset at the very end of the night when Goldberg's speech was cut off, and how immediately following the match they went to commercial break. Like, that's production. That's media production, man. Like, you're on a timer. Like, you got to go. You're on national television. It is a hard stop at 10 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah.
There's really nothing that they could have done. It's unfortunate, and it kind of stinks for him. But like that's TV.
But like, and you are one to know this as well. So like, you're the one who's controlling the whole situation. I'm technically just a fan or an analyst that wants to see the best for everybody. So completely understanding and speaking with you, knowing that that's how we had to go out. Yeah, it was completely called on the fly. And I do believe Saturday night's main event was supposed to be a lot bigger than it really turned out to be, and we do have a lot more negative to talk about on this, but then we do positive. But overall, like, my heart goes out to Seth Rollins because you don't come back from 3. I hate to say that. You don't come back from 3 major knee injuries. I don't care what industry you're in. Like 3 major knee injuries where you're out 9 to 12 months. Just remember, Seth's only got 2 years left on his contract. He's 38.
Well, granted, the second one, I don't think he got surgery on. He kind of just rested it for 2 months and then he came back.
Yeah, he did, but still, the reason this one went as it did is because he didn't get the surgery how he was supposed to. Like, it never really heals. It never fully heals. It's just scar tissue built on scar tissue, right? So depending on where this goes, like, I'm really concerned if we are ever going to see Seth Rollins in a main event status ever again. Are we going to get Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania ever again? Or ever? You know, are we going to get the culmination of the Shield feud that you and I spoke about not 3 weeks ago, saying that's where WrestleMania 42 was going? I think this is
that is a one-on-one feud that has never had any closure.
Exactly.
Which is crazy to think about. Crazy to think that Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns has never had any like you can't pinpoint a closing story on that. It's been ongoing for 15 years. It's going to happen. Seth Rollins is going to come back. For how long, I don't know. He's not going to be the same. And I can for damn sure guarantee that he's not going to do any stupid flips or any of this flippity-dip-dop bullshit that the Undertaker says, right? Like
Yeah.
he's not gonna do the things that Seth Rollins does because this is the tail end.
Yeah.
And you're right, coming back from 3, damn near impossible. But I think he's gonna do it because he's more motivated than ever to do it. Because just like the first time that it happened, and again, that was 10 years ago, that was 10 years younger Seth Rollins, right?
Yeah.
This is hard to do at 40 years old.
Yeah.
I think he's 39, same shit.
Exactly.
He's going to have to do this to not only get himself ready for a main event push as Mr. Money in the Bank, because I'm assuming if he comes back and they keep the briefcase on him, he's probably going to have to cash in as soon as he comes back. But also, you were supposed to be elevating 2 of the brightest stars on the roster in Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. What does Paul Heyman do now? Does Paul Heyman stay on TV with the Brawns and elevate them just as, kind of just them? Whatever Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed kind of have on the agenda? Maybe they pivot to what was supposed to be Roman and Seth and Punk and all of them involved in SummerSlam to maybe they do I'm going to assume CM Punk and Gunther for the World Championship. You can easily tell that story without it being seamless. Do you do Roman versus Braun Breaker at SummerSlam? You could do that. Braun took out Roman just as much as Seth did.
Yeah, people would take it. People would accept it.
I would take that. I mean, maybe you just have to absolutely rush Braun Breaker's push now. And have him be the guy. And by the time Seth Rollins comes back, you go into the Rollins Breaker feud.
I thought about this morning when I woke up. I was making my coffee, sitting on the patio, just kind of digesting everything that happened last night. And the one thing that came to mind is Seth Rollins. He's getting an MRI tomorrow. We found that out later today. But have Seth Rollins come out on crutches and hand the Money in the Bank briefcase to Braun Breaker. Hand it to him. Just hand it to him, very much like Becky did with Asuka when she went away pregnant. Seth Rollins is allowed to be, or the Money in the Bank champion is allowed to hold the title for 1 year. Seth goes away all the way to Mania. Braun Breaker goes to cash in at Mania on whoever the champion is. And all you hear is burn it down. And Seth walks to the ring and says, give me my briefcase back. And it's a failed cash in. And there's your feud, Seth versus Braun Breaker.
Yeah. I mean, there's always a silver lining in some, like, what did Bob Ross call them? Happy accidents, you know? There's no mistakes in my paintings. There's happy accidents. This is a happy accident, right? It's like you can always pivot. It's not what you wanted, and it screws up a lot of the next 12 months of storytelling if you're Paul Levesque.
Yeah.
100%.
Let's dive
but
in.
There's a silver lining in this. There's
Absolutely.
other things that they could do.
Let's dive into Gunther Goldberg. We might as well just go into the main event, and then we can revert back because there's a lot of story to be told in the other 2 matches as well. Gunther Goldberg, not a technical masterpiece, but Goldberg's longest match of his career. 15 minutes and 20 seconds. He hits his jackhammer. He hits his spear. Gage gets involved, hops the barricade. First off, this kid, Jesus, eye to eye with Gunther and bigger than Gunther. Why is this kid playing football and not at the PC? That's my question, first off. Secondly, like you mentioned, rushed finish. But my biggest thing is Goldberg went out like a legend. Gunther got put over by Goldberg, choking out the likes of Goldberg, who went, 300, 145, 147 matches in a row, undefeated, and just brutalized everybody. And to get choked out by, the Austrian tactician that is Gunther, solidified that Gunther's a badass, his title runs are good, and you gotta do something special to take that title from him. That's why the titles have always been put on Gunther. So please, Gage, and then the way Goldberg went out.
Gage has a full ride to play college football. I don't care how much money that the Goldberg family has made. Free money is free money. Go play football. Go have a blast.
Yep.
If it doesn't work out, and for a lot, I mean, it didn't work out for Brock Lesnar, man. Football didn't work out for Roman Reigns.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter. Like, it worked out for Wes Welker. It worked out for Julian Edelman. It worked out for, a lot of smaller guys who just happened to maybe work harder. Maybe their talent was perfectly positioned in certain areas. I don't know. That's just life. You get in where you fit in, as someone would say. I think that if Gage doesn't have the career he wants, maybe even after college, he's like, all right. I think WWE or pro wrestling in general is his plan B. Would
Should
love
be.
to see him. Remember that awkward fat little kid, Gage Goldberg, who came out with who got picked up by Bill after he returned in 2016.
Yep.
I was in high school when that happened. Like, oh, there's his son, there's his wife. This is a cool moment. Bill Goldberg's facing Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. That was 9 years ago. 9-year difference. Look at him now, man.
He's a unit.
Look at him now. That is crazy to me how fast kids can grow up. With that being said, was it the perfect send off for Bill Goldberg? No. I don't think he was ever going to get the perfect send off. I mean, the fact that he came back at 58 years old after 3 years off from competing in a match, and a guy who hasn't competed on a regular basis in 20 plus years, and when he was competing, his matches were 4 minutes long. Like, he never had a long match.
Yeah.
That had to be one of, if not the longest match of his entire career.
It was. No,
minutes,
it was the longest match of his career.
which is crazy that he was able to pull that off. And for a 58-year-old, that's what I was expecting to see from Bill Goldberg. So, like, you can't be disappointed from a in-ring technically wrestling match. Like, that was as good of a match as you were going to see from a 58-year-old man who was in the best shape that he possibly could be in for 58 years old. Now Bill Goldberg can relax and, blow up to be a house over the next 10 years, which is what probably is going to happen because he has nothing to train for. Gunther gets him in the sleeper hold. That's the finish. That's a great finish for Gunther, who some way, somehow manages to just win, man. Like Sam Roberts says it best on his show, Not Sam Wrestling. Gunther just has a way of just winning with no interference, no exciting, after it's just like, that's it. Gunther wins.
Yeah.
Nothing. That's it. That's Gunther, man. That's his whole character, and it's worked for him because he's a great, technically gifted professional wrestler, puts on great in-ring performances, tells a story like no other, in my opinion. For people that say Gunther's boring, you're not actually paying attention. You're not a traditional wrestling fan, man. Gunther knows what the hell he's doing, and Gunther continues to outperform everybody else on the roster.
I will say this, and it will get a lot of heat on this comment, but Gunther, he is what traditional pro wrestling is and what it will forever be. This is what, like, our grandfathers watched, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. That is what pro wrestling was. This is the Harley races. This is what Ric Flair started out as. This is what Hulk Hogan started out as, and guys, the Iron Sheiks of the world. Gunther is that embodiment of professional wrestling. That's why he stays on top, and that's why he will, and I will say this with a smile on my face, Gunther will go down as a modern day greatest of all time because he is just that gifted. Gunther is so gifted. And the funniest part is, everyone that I just mentioned, all the Hall of Famers that I just mentioned, none of them, minus maybe Ric Flair, were strategic in the ring and strategic on the mic. Gunther sat down with, I believe, Sam Roberts last night on the post show, which was the podcast for Saturday Night's Main Events this morning, and he goes, calculated risk. I took the jackhammer. I took the spear. Yeah, when I was 9 years old, I used to watch WCW Nitro and admire the power of Goldberg. Guess what? I just retired him. And now I'm going to go on as one of the greatest world champions of all time. Guess what? not many people are going to come out and say, you know what? Yeah, they were good. I'm better. Take care of it and prove me wrong. I loved the whole day for Gunther. So overall, yeah, I think Gunther is lacking a lot of respect from wrestling fans. And I think people need to really start watching the total package over the slow process of his matches. And when I say that, go look at All In. Look at what Mercedes and Tony's match was. You know what that was? A 1960s women's technical match where they weren't looked at as beautiful models going into the ring and beating each other up. It was, we want to see technical wrestling from women. You know what I mean? When they got their opportunities. And that's what Tony and Mercedes did. And that's what Gunther does night in and night out. That's all I'm going to say on that one.
Agreed. And if we are seeing the match that I think we're going to see at SummerSlam, given that we're going to have a 5-way gauntlet match tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw, Gunther versus CM Punk could potentially steal the show at SummerSlam. Whether it main events one of the nights or not, that is a solid plan B from what we were going to see with Seth Rollins involved.
The only thing I'll say is don't disregard LA Knight, because I really think the focus was to push LA Knight in this feud with Seth Rollins.
For sure. And it stinks that it's panning out because, like I said, Seth was supposed to elevate Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Don't forget about everybody else that he was feuding with.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to elevate LA Knight. He was supposed to elevate Jey Uso. They took him out. They were supposed to elevate Sami Zayn. All of these guys. And granted, they'll fall into place because everybody does. But LA Knight's a guy that, like, this was kind of like his comeback from like that spark that he had in 2023. He kind of lost it in 2024. They put the U.S. title on him multiple times, so like they kept him around. And showed him, like, we still believe in this guy, but, like, he's kind of been lost. Even though his mic work is great and the fans are still heavily behind him, this was his moment to kind of get involved into a main event feud. And I was telling you, I think we were probably going to see some sort of a big tag team match at SummerSlam with Reigns, LA Knight, and CM Punk involved, taking on Seth Rollins and the Empire. Right? That's what I thought.
Yeah. I feel really bad for him.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we were going to get Seth versus Roman one-on-one. I think that would have been way too quick.
That's Mania.
Maybe Seth versus Punk one-on-one, like inside Hell in a Cell or something. Like something big like that. Which also still, like, that's another feud that still has no closure.
No.
So, like, Seth Rollins has so much on his plate, and you just could see the disappointment and the frustration. Like, he yelled fuck multiple times when they dimmed the lights and, you know, they went to commercial.
He looked terrified.
LA Knight is a guy, like, I don't think LA Knight's facing Gunther for the world title at SummerSlam. I just don't think that's the direction you go. And if you're having CM Punk wrestle in a match on Raw, unless Braun Breaker takes out CM Punk, and then maybe we see the Bronze versus Roman and Punk at SummerSlam. You could also do that tag team match.
We have no idea. I just felt so bad for LA Knight. He just looked like, because it seems to always happen with him. Something bad always happens while he's on the way to his push. You know what I mean? Like, he always seems to have that dark cloud around him. And then Seth, like, when he sat in the corner, he looked like physically, like his eyes, he just looked scared that it was like, there's so much that I need to do. You know what I mean? So that was,
I personally first thought, like, I hope this is a work. I hope this is a work. I hope everybody's looking down at Seth, and then, like, Bronson Reed hits LA Knight with a clothesline or something. And then when he hit him with
the BFT.
What's his finisher? The BFT. When he hit him with that, I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna pin him 1, 2, 3, and that's gonna be it. Like, that's not a work. No. Like, there's no way that's a work.
Let's get out of here. Like, let's get out of here and get this whole situation sorted. So, anyways, let's do the Bloodline. Let's go solo with the MFTs and versus Jimmy Uso. This was exactly what we expected. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I don't want to like drown it out and say whatever, but like this is exactly what we expected. It was a 4-on-1 match. Jimmy got brutalized, and then we had a late run in after the match by Jacob Fatu. We've talked a lot about Roman. Is this an avenue for Roman where we're going to get Roman, Jacob, and Tamatanga as a faction against the MFTs? Like
I don't think you can go that route.
mm,
That's too forced.
yeah.
Roman already took care of Solo. Why would he go back?
And in the mid card. Like in
Yeah.
the because the bloodline was for 2021 to 2020 start of 2024. That was the main card was the bloodline, but now it's like unless you're about to do something drastic, and maybe with the Seth Rollins injury, that's where they shift and find a way to put a title on one of the bloodline members, and you do something drastic. Roman in the mid card, like that's
No, I mean that story was already told, in my opinion. Like if you put Roman right back there, it's like, all right, well, we're getting like Bloodline versus Bloodline at War Games again.
Yeah.
Like why just run that back when you could honestly, if Roman Reigns, like I hate to say it for all the Roman lovers out there, he doesn't have to come back till WrestleMania season at this point.
no.
Shoot your movie. Like you don't need to come back unless they need him for SummerSlam. Then you go in the direction of, well, Braun Breaker did take me out.
Yeah.
Just as much as Seth Rollins did. I still want to get my hands on Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Like there's still that element to it. You can't get your hands on Seth Rollins, but you can get your hands on the guy that turned on you at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You can get your hands on the guy that speared you through the barricade the night after WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still that avenue where you could tell a one-off match at SummerSlam, elevate Braun by having him pick up a huge win on Roman Reigns, and then Roman disappears till the Royal Rumble.
Mm.
And then you start getting into your WrestleMania stories. Because like there's no sense in Roman coming back and telling a nonsensical story that he already won last year, and then God forbid he gets injured in a feud or something. Like you don't want stuff like that in a feud that to me is it's already been done and he already won that feud. There's no sense of him going back just because they're all related.
Yeah, it's almost like what can Roman do coming back? Like now that Seth is gone, I think Seth is, and we're talking as if Seth is gone, but let's just be real, Seth is probably gone for quite some time. But at the end of the day, what is there for Roman? Like everything that Roman has done over the last several years has been a long-term story. I
think you almost have to rush what we had talked about previously. Granted, it might happen. And honestly, Cody's been teasing it on X. He's been teasing it in interviews with Kay Adams. If we get a double turn at SummerSlam, or maybe even a little bit more down the line, Cody Rhodes eventually turns heel. You rush the heel Cody versus face Roman as your WrestleMania 42 main event. And if Seth Rollins is healthy enough, he surprises everybody with a cash in.
Could be.
I think that's the only other option, unless someone's elevated enough to the point where Roman Reigns can tell a good story with them, like a Braun Breaker heading into WrestleMania season.
Yeah.
Because John Cena is going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Rollins isn't going to be there to tell a story. Maybe you go the Roman Punk route if that story's juicy enough, which I don't know if it's going to be without Paul Heyman involved, because they're both chasing Paul Heyman as opposed to Paul Heyman being involved on either side.
Yep.
I think that's the story you have to tell, is that Roman comes back, faces maybe Braun Breaker at SummerSlam if they want to utilize him, and then maybe have Roman win the Royal Rumble and just put him in the title scene. I could even get on board for Roman versus Gunther.
Oof. That would be a hell of a match. That would be a hell. I would love to see Roman Gunther in a 1 hour Iron Man match. Imagine that.
Oh yeah,
that would be crazy.
But like Roman's guaranteed WrestleMania main event feud.
Yeah.
Poof! It's fairy dust. It's gone as of right now.
Yeah.
So you really have to. And Roman has creative control, man. He's gonna have to pivot. This is where you ask Dwayne. We need to finish this story.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
To do Rock versus Roman.
It's kind of funny that you just went there because I was about to bring it up. Where does The Rock and Travis Scott fit in all of this now? That whole Seth Rollins, like, I genuinely believe the main event, like, I've heard from people at WWE before, a day is a month is a year, and a year is 3 years. That's how WWE looks at work, right? I truly believe WrestleMania 2's Night 2 main event was Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. I think hands down that was that. Now we need to pivot heavily, and I mean heavily, to can we get Rock Roman at 42? I don't think we can get anything else that makes sense. Unless they're going to make Street Fighter and somehow have Cody versus Roman at 42 all in the same thing and have them do double duty while filming, which never happens. Roman won't do it. Cody, I can see doing double duty because he wants that John Cena schedule, but I don't see it. Moving to 42, and we can make a whole video on this, I think it has to be they pivot to who is the tribal chief.
Which, again, I talked about Bob Ross and his happy accident, Steve. That would be a massive happy accident. We were never going to get, and we still might not ever get, Rock versus Roman and the payoff to that whole bloodline saga. But the fact that Seth Rollins was Roman Reigns' only legitimate main event WrestleMania feud heading into 2026, and Seth Rollins might be gone for it.
Mm-hmm.
This is where Dwayne and Paul and Lee Fitting and Nick Khan have to get together and be like, Dwayne, we might actually need you for this.
Yeah, heavily. All right, let's get into the first match of the night. But our final topic.
We really went backwards.
We did go backwards, but whatever. It'll come out great in the video. Randy versus Drew McIntyre with Jelly Roll in Randy Orton's corner and Logan Paul in Drew McIntyre's corner. Jack, I hate this. I hate all of it. You can carry it. I'll put my opinion in after. I hate this.
I mean, Jelly Roll wants to wrestle in a WWE ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we elevate Jelly Roll to look semi-good in a WWE ring?
Mm-hmm.
We have him touted by arguably one of our greatest superstars of all time and our most beloved superstar of all time currently, Randy Orton.
Yep.
Randy Orton can get over Jelly Roll. That I get. All right. Who's two heels we can pair them against? Jelly Roll's a celebrity. Who's our biggest celebrity? Logan Paul.
Yep.
People love Randy Orton, so they're going to love Jelly Roll. They hate Logan Paul. They hate Drew McIntyre. Kind of. I knew that this Randy Orton-Drew McIntyre match was just, it was the first chapter in a feud that's going to be told over the next month heading into SummerSlam.
Yep.
And we were just going to get the celebrity tag team match with Logan and Jelly involved with Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton to kind of elevate that match.
Yep.
The thing that, and again, like, I didn't have any high expectations for this because it's going to be a celebrity match. And granted, Bad Bunny was great in the past. Travis Scott sucked in the past. Logan Paul has turned out to be great.
Amazing.
If Jelly Roll's training, man, and he's lost over 250 pounds, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think Randy Orton is probably going to carry most of that match, but we're going to see some cool moments from Jelly Roll at MetLife Stadium.
Yep.
The thing that I cannot stand about this, Steve, is that Drew McIntyre was off TV for over 2 months, and he loses clean in his first match back against a guy that doesn't need the win. Randy Orton can lose every PLE match for the rest of 2025. He's still Randy Orton.
Yep.
Doesn't hurt him.
Yep.
Why is he beating Drew McIntyre?
Yeah. I'm going to go even deeper on this. And Drew McIntyre being off TV for 2 months, being that he is I'm going to say the cerebral assassin of social media when it comes to Drew McIntyre. And he comes back with the pursuing. Sorry, I'm going to redo this. He's come back pursuing Randy Orton, which I think Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre can be a great feud through SummerSlam, potentially into if they do Hell in a Cell or if they do Extreme Rules or if they do Survivor Series and they can have a crazy match to end the feud going out of 2025. But Drew has been vocal about outsiders joining WWE, and he aligns himself with Logan Paul. This is what I hate, because Drew has been, no, I don't tell any lies. I don't tell lies. Drew's always speaking facts, and as much as people hate what Drew says, most of it, 90% of it makes sense. And now you've aligned yourself with Logan Paul and gone against everything that you're virtually about. Yes, okay, Jelly Roll's the full outsider, but you openly shit on Logan Paul all the time. This is what annoys me. Yes, he lost clean, and granted, it doesn't make Drew look any more powerful when he loses clean on his first match back. But Drew's whole persona has been, I am my own entity. The WWE and everyone in it revolves around me. And then it's almost like he sells out. Like, to be fair, and I know this is drastic, him aligning with Logan felt like Austin shaking hands with McMahon to me. That's drastic, but that's the only way I can put it together. It's shaking hands with the devil at this point. And Drew is so much better. I want to see Drew going world title picture. I want to see Drew versus Cena, because we've never seen it. Because Drew's even been saying, you know, Cena has been ducking me for years. Give us that. Don't give us Drew where he deserves to be, and Randy both deserve to be in something so much bigger. In the biggest SummerSlam of all time, they decide to book those two just for clickbait. That's how I feel about this, and it is atrocious that 14, 15-time champion Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, who's a bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer, are put into this.
Well, that's almost like a glass half empty way of looking at it. I'll give you the glass half full take.
Okay.
It's a business, right?
Of course.
Drew McIntyre has been great for business. Randy Orton has always been great for business. Logan Paul has been a great investment.
Gold.
Jelly Roll is arguably one of the top 5 highest revenue recording artists out there right now.
Yep.
That's a big name who wants to
Huge.
wrestle a match, right? Bad Bunny was probably the #1 recording artist when he came in and wanted to wrestle Damian Priest. Have at it. Put on a great match in Puerto Rico. Travis Scott's always going to be one of the top recording artists. Whatever Travis Scott wants to do, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that at the end of the day, if
Yeah.
that ever even comes to fruition. We may have seen the last of him at WrestleMania. Who knows? Jelly Roll wants to have a match. Pair him with if not one of the greatest of all time. We can't pair him with John Cena. Let's pair him with Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre, one of our top heels, if not our top heel in the business right now, who we want to elevate to an even higher level by the end of the year. Who's to say he won't face John Cena by the time December rolls around?
Yeah.
Logan Paul is always going to be creating viral moments because Logan Paul is the most viral guy on the internet.
Yep.
What's the most viral wrestling move on the internet? The RKO out of nowhere. We're going to see an RKO out of nowhere. Logan Paul is going to go viral with it. Drew McIntyre is going to get the clout of being in a match with one of the top artists in the world today. And it makes sense. I don't know how they're going to tell it,
Yep.
but I think they're going to make it make sense to where everybody wins at the end of the day and everybody can go their separate ways. If we see a double turn between Rhodes and Cena, you would see that McIntyre-Cena match happening at some point over the next 5 months. Randy Orton will probably go on, and who knows whatever Randy Orton does is always good TV.
Yeah.
Especially because his promos are as good as they have ever been in his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Paul will go on and tell another feud that he'll probably have a great wrestling match in. I think everybody's going to be okay at the end of this. I'm happy with it being I think that was a match. That match was set in stone before the Seth Rollins injury. If that match happened after the Seth Rollins injury, who knows if that would be a match happening? Maybe they would have pivoted to something else. But that's what we're getting.
Yeah, either way, we have picked apart Saturday night's main event for either the good, the bad, the ugly, and it seems to be a trend with us. We always find the good, the bad, the ugly over on Straight Shoot, especially when you and I have teamed up together. But overall, Saturday night's main event, Jack, out of 10.
I don't know if this is one you could rate because if it went according to plan. Let's say it went according to plan. That's a solid 7.5 or 8 to me. If like you get a Seth Rollins teased cash in, Roman returns, Goldberg gets sent off in like a and the crowd in Atlanta was great. Great crowd in Atlanta. Would have blown the roof off the place. That's a solid 7.5 or 8. This is like a 4, dude. Like it was just deflated after that Seth Rollins LA Knight match. Deflated.
It's so
The
funny.
final 45 minutes were completely screwed up, and the whole SummerSlam card is screwed up, and the whole next 9 months are screwed up, and you just, I don't know. As a WWE fan, you look at this weekend, and granted, like if Evolution didn't happen tonight, Steve, you look at this weekend thinking AEW's back, baby. AEW has an opportunity to win back some ratings,
And
in all of these WWE to AEW head to head, promotions that they're putting on. Evolution put on an A+ tonight, but Saturday night's main event was like a D-, dude.
oof.
And it shouldn't have been, but it was.
See, I had a bit more love for Saturday night's main event, but you are right, and that's the one thing I emphasized on my review video. The crowd was so hot. Like, the second Randy's music hit at the start of the show, you knew what kind of crowd you were going to get. And the second Seth sat in the corner, you know it's just like you've just seen something that's just killed everything. Like, the air was sucked out of that arena. It's almost like you heard a pin drop. So, I'm going to give it a little bit more love. I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. And that's nothing against all the performers. It's just how it left the taste in my mouth at the end of at the end of the show. I was like, yeah, okay, we'll just move on. So, but guys, let us know in the comments. I know we beat that to death. Jack's info is down below. My socials are down below. Like always, see you tomorrow and be good people.